walking like forever, still had time on our side. But something in the way you looked told me something had died. We were laughing through the silence like nothing had changed, but every word felt different, like we were just pretending. I felt it in the space between every what we used to be. Something slipped away from us before we could believe. Love ended before we said it did, before goodbye ever crossed our lips. We were holding on to something gone, trying to pretend it still existed. Love ended before we let it go, before we even came to know that we were just two hearts alone in a love that had already gone cold. I remember how it felt so real, like nothing could break us down. But time can turn the strongest hearts into something we can't find. You were right there next to me, but I couldn't feel you close, like your heart had taken flight long before you chose. I tried to reach for what was left, but all I found was emptiness. And every second that we stayed was just a delay in the end. Love ended before we said it did, before the tears, before the split. We were standing in the ruins of something we couldn't fix. Love ended before we said goodbye, before we even wondered why. Now I'm left with all the truth that we were living a lie. Maybe we both felt it fade away, but neither one had words to say. We kept holding on too long to something already gone. If we had faced it when it changed, would it hurt a little less this way? Or would we still be standing here with the same regret and pain? Love ended before we said it did, and now I finally see it clear. Every moment that we stayed was just built on fear. Love ended before we let it go, before we had the strength to know that sometimes letting go is love, even when it hurts the most. Love ended before we said, and now it's just a truth we never said. before the skies gave way. You were standing right beside me, but I felt you drift away. Like a storm we couldn't outrun, slowly turning into gray. I saw it in your trembling hands, in the way you couldn't stand the weight of what we used to be, falling out of reach. We broke like glass in slow motion rain, every piece falling down in pain. Shattered dreams we couldn't save, washing away in yesterday. We broke like glass, we felt it all, every crack before the fall. Now I'm holding what remains of us in slow motion rain. I remember how you held me, like nothing could slip away. Now your touch feels like a memory, fading with the rain. Every promise that we whispered echoes in my mind, but love can turn so fragile when it's left behind. I tried to keep us from the edge, but we were hanging by a thread, and every second that we stayed was just delay in the break. We broke like glass in slow motion rain, every tear fell just the same, every word we couldn't say drowned inside the pain. We broke like glass we could admit, every moment reached its end. Now I'm standing in the rain with nothing left to say. Maybe love was never meant to last, maybe we were holding on to the past. Every drop that falls tonight feels like goodbye. If I could stop the moment there before we shattered in despair, would we still be standing here or break the same? We broke like glass in slow motion rain, and I still feel every piece, every memory, every trace that time could never erase. We broke like glass, but I still see reflections of you in me. Even now, through all the pain, you're in my slow motion rain. We broke like glass The room was filled with quiet fear, like something about to break. Your eyes were holding back the truth I didn't want to face. Every word we didn't say was hanging in the air. I felt your heart slipping away, and I was standing there. I tried to reach for something real before it disappeared, but all I found was distance growing in everything we shared. It was the night I almost lost you. Where everything we built together was hanging on one will. It was the night I almost lost you, and I didn't know what to say. I just stood there holding on while you were drifting away. I remember how your voice shook when you spoke my name, like every piece of what we were was breaking just the same. I saw a tear fall down your face, and something changed inside. I knew right then if I let go, we'd lose what we can't hide. I held you closer than before, like I could stop the fall, like love could find its way again and save us after all. It was the night I almost lost you, where everything felt so unsure, like one more word could end it all, or somehow make it pure. Something in your eyes still far to make you wanna stay. Maybe love don't always come out strong. Sometimes it feels like it's all gone wrong, but in that moment we held on like we just another goodbye. But somehow through the broken lines we found a way to try. It was the night I almost lost you, but we didn't let it fall. Through every doubt and every tear, we gave it one more call. heart still fights for you. The night I almost lost you still lives inside everything we do. We spoke in words that sounded certain, like forever had a place. Every promise felt so perfect, written softly in our space. But something underneath was breaking, and the things we couldn't see, like a truth we kept avoiding, didn't let us be. We tried to hold it all so tight, afraid to let in too much light. But love needs air to stay alive, and we were running out of time. We were a promise that couldn't breathe, holding on too desperately. Every word we tried to keep only pulled us underneath. We were a promise that couldn't breathe, too fragile to be set free. Now I'm left with what we were and what we couldn't be. I remember how you held me, like you never would let go. But even in your arms I felt a distance I didn't know. Every silence grew heavier, every moment lost its air. We were standing in a love that was never really there. I kept hoping we could survive, but something deeper couldn't hide. And every breath we tried to take felt harder than the last. We were a promise that couldn't breathe, lost inside what we believed. Every dream we tried to save slowly faded into gray. We were a promise that couldn't breathe, and I finally understand that love can't live inside a lie, or something we can't stand. Maybe love needs truth to grow, even when it hurts to know that what we had was never strong enough to carry on. If I could go back to the start, would I still give you my heart, even knowing we would fall and lose it all? We were a promise that couldn't breathe, and I still feel it now. Every piece we try to hold couldn't show us how. We were a promise that forgive. A promise without end still lingers everywhere. You came softly like the evening, no warning in your eyes, just a calm I didn't question, like truth in a disguise. You held me like forever, like nothing in between. But I never saw the distance and what it really meant. There was something in the air, like a love that wasn't there, fully yours, fully mine, just borrowed space and time. You held me like a temporary dream, like something real that couldn't be. Every touch felt like forever, but it slipped away from me. You held me like a temporary dream, soft as night, then gone by dawn. Now I wake up reaching out to something that's not there at all. I remember how you whispered, like you meant every word. But silence came between us, louder than what I heard. Every moment felt so fragile, like it couldn't really stay. But I chose to keep believing it wouldn't fade away. I was living in your light, never seeing through the night that was waiting quietly to take you away from me. You held me like a temporary dream, like a feeling passing through. Every piece of what we were felt too perfect to be true. You held me like a temporary dream, and I didn't wanna see that what felt like everything was never meant for me. Maybe I was meant to lose you then, just to learn what love had been. Even if it didn't stay, it changed me and I still feel you now. Every night I close my eyes, you find me somehow. You held me like a temporary dream, and maybe that's enough. For a moment I believed in something close to love, a temporary dream that felt so real. Now all that's left is what I feel. The room was dim, the night was quiet, like something fading out of sight. You stood there close but felt so distant, like love was losing all its light. I tried to read between the silence, in every breath you couldn't hide. And in the way your hands were trembling, I saw the truth you kept inside. You didn't say the words out loud, but I could feel them breaking down. And every glance you gave to me was everything I feared to see. Your eyes spoke in vanishing lights, like love was slipping through the night. Every spark we used to hold was fading out of sight. Your eyes spoke what words denied, a quiet end we couldn't find. And in that moment I could see we were losing what we used to be. I remember when they held me like I was all you'd ever need. Now they look right through my heart, like you were already free. Every memory we built together flickers like a dying flame, and I'm standing in the darkness, still calling out your name. I reached for something still alive, but couldn't keep it from goodbye. And every second that we stayed was just delay in the end. Your eyes spoke in vanishing lights, before the tears, before the fall, before we even said goodbye, they said it all. Your eyes spoke in fading glow of everything we couldn't hold. Now all that's left inside of me is what they couldn't show. Maybe love don't always need a voice. Sometimes it breaks without a choice. And every look we try to hide is where the truth resides. Or would I finally understand what slipped right through my hands? Your eyes spoke in vanishing lights, and I still see them now. Every time I close my eyes, they find me somehow. Your eyes spoke what words couldn't say, and I still hear them in my mind. A love that faded silently, but never left behind. Your eyes still speak to me in fading light that I still see. You said forever like you meant it, like nothing could break through. Every word felt like a promise that led me back to you. But somewhere in your quiet, I felt you slip away, like love was still between us, but you chose not to stay. Try to hold on to your heart while it was drifting in the dark, and every breath I took alone felt like you were gone. Love stayed, but you didn't. It held on when you let go. Every piece of what we were still refuses to let go. Love stayed, but you didn't. And I don't know how to be without the part of you that still lives inside of me. I remember how you'd hold me like I was all you knew. But even in your arms I felt something wasn't true. Every kiss felt like a question, every touch unsure, and I was loving you completely while you weren't sure. We were standing on the edge of everything we never said, and every moment we stood still was breaking what was real. Love stayed, but you didn't. In the silence we became, every feeling left unsaid turned slowly into pain. Love stayed, but you didn't. And I didn't wanna see that something I believed so much was never meant for me. Maybe love can make you stay, no matter how I beg or pray. It lives beyond what we can hold, even when it's cold. If I could go back to that time, would I still call you mine? couldn't stay. Love stayed, but you didn't. But I'm learning how to let go of a love that still remains. Even though love stayed, but you didn't. And maybe that's the truth. Some hearts stay long after the one who held them moves. Love remains. You are gone. Still I feel you hold on. We built our world on fragile answers, on words we couldn't prove. Every promise felt uncertain, but we still called it truth. You held me like you almost meant it, like you were halfway there. And I kept reaching for a future that vanished in the air. It started in the smallest doubt, the words we never figured out, a love that balanced on the edge of what we said. Love cracked beneath the weight of maybe. Under all the what-ifs we gave it, every dream we tried to hold broke apart and lost control. Love cracked beneath the weight of maybe, where it couldn't stand so shaky. Every hope we tried to save fell apart in what we gave. I remember how we lingered between the yes and no, like we were scared of finding out which way we'd really go. Every touch was full of questions, every kiss felt incomplete, like we were dancing in a moment we couldn't keep. We were living in between what we hoped and what we'd be, and every breath we couldn't take was a silent break. Love cracked beneath the weight of maybe. In the silence we became, every feeling left unsaid turned slowly into pain. Love cracked beneath the weight of maybe, and I didn't want to to be. Maybe love needs more than doubt, more than trying to figure out, something strong enough to stay through every day. If we had chosen from the start, with open hands and open hearts, would we have stood or still just fall? After all, love cracked beneath the weight of maybe, and I still feel it now. Every piece we couldn't say still shows me how. Love cracked beneath the weight of maybe, but I'm learning to let go of a love that couldn't stand on a maybe alone. Too unsure to survive, we were close, but not right. I saw it in the way you looked at me, like something wasn't there. A quiet kind of distance, growing unaware. We spoke like nothing changed, like we were still the same. But something in your silence was whispering goodbye, my name. I tried to hold on to the truth, but it was slipping through, like something I could never say, no matter what I do. Your heart faded before you left, while I was holding every breath. Every dream we tried to keep was already out of reach. Your heart faded before you left, and I didn't understand how something that felt so alive could slip right through my hands. I remember how you'd hold me like I was still your home, but even in your arms I felt already alone. Every word became uncertain, every touch felt less, like love was slowly disappearing into emptiness. We were living in between what we were and what we'd be, and every breath we couldn't take was a quiet breath. Your heart faded before you left. In the silence we became. Every feeling left unsaid. Turned slowly into pain. Your heart faded before you left, and I still feel it now. Every piece we couldn't say, couldn't show us how. Maybe love don't end with a goodbye. Sometimes it leaves before you try. And every look that turns away, it fades to gray. If I had seen it from the start, would I have guarded my heart, or would I still have stayed the same through all the pain? Your heart faded before you left, and I'm learning how to see. And not all love is meant to stay or become what we believe. Your heart faded before you left, but I'm letting go at last of something that was already gone, long before the past faded heart. Before goodbye, you were gone, while I still try. You came into my life like fire, warming everything I knew. But there was something in your silence that felt too fragile to be true. We held on like we had forever, like the clock had lost its way. But every moment felt like slipping through the hands of yesterday. I should have seen it in your eyes that we were running out of time. But love can make you blind to what you don't wanna find. You love me in borrowed time, like we were living on a line. Every heartbeat, every kiss felt too perfect to exist. You love me in borrowed time, like forever wasn't ours. Now I'm left with memories were never meant to last. I remember how you held me like you'd never let me go. But even then I felt the distance in a way I didn't know. Every promise that you whispered carried shadows in disguise, like a truth you couldn't tell me was hiding in your eyes. I tried to keep the moment still, but time moved on against our will. And every second that we stayed was one we couldn't save. You left me in borrowed time, through nights that slipped away too fast. Every dream we dared to hold was never built to last. You left me in borrowed time, and I didn't wanna see that what felt like forever then was never meant to be. Maybe some loves are meant to burn so bright, even if they only last one night, and leave behind a memory that lives eternally. If I could stand there once again, would I still take your hand? Even knowing how it ends, I choose it all again. You loved me in borrowed time, and I'll carry it through mine. Every piece of what we were still